Alright. So yeah, anyway, they sent the illegal amigos to cut the grass. Or did they? Whatever they did. They did something. They ain't cut this shit. They didn't cut this shit. So what the hell did they do? Oh, I guess they just cut right here. They got a riding lawnmower, but they only cut right here. Well, it looks like, yeah, they cut right here too. But anyway, but back to what I was talking about earlier. And then some, I can't say this totally confirms what I'm saying. And also, again, that shooting. I saw another video, and like I said, I thought of that guy's channel when I first saw it because they. Oh, you know why? Because they labeled it. They did when just what was that Sunday when I woke up, whatever, or maybe about 10 when I saw it. They labeled it a mass shooting, and when I saw it, like Birmingham local. Okay, here I'm like immediately. Okay, here we go. And then 21 4 dead. At first it was 22 shot. And it said that's why. Yeah, that's why I thought about it because they labeled it. Because that's the first thing I said. I said this is not a mass shooting. That's nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? But and then that dude, I was like, oh, he the one to be. Yeah, so he might be a Trojan horse, a traitor. Well, I thought what I did start watching this video because I did get a.
The cars started to back up, and I was confused why.
Bailey Kavanagh says the man in the truck in front of her jumps out.
And he yelled, "Call 911, there's a dead body."
A woman's body lying just feet from traffic.
She was covered in blood. She had grass all over her, like stuck to her from the blood, I guess.
Kavanagh calls 911 as she and two other drivers scramble to form a human shield, blocking the body from view. Police have identified the victim as 45-year-old Jennifer Hart. They believe she may have been hit by a car as early as Wednesday, which means she could have been sitting out here for more than 24 hours.
The thought of someone being on the side of...
Yeah, this wasn't what I was talking about, but how do y'all people keep getting hit? What is up with these people? We're on the side of the highway. I'm telling you, all of this is connected. They're telling these people to walk in the streets and highway and on the sides. And I guess people, just fuck it. You know what? I ain't stopping. And you know what? They might be TIs, meaning they know who did it. The cops know who did it because they were, and people know because they were. I never even thought of that till just now. They know exactly who did it, but the person don't know. Like I know you're being, gang stalked. And why won't they do? Because they don't. They want them to. Yeah, this is, and they're not going to use it against them, like threaten them to turn them in. They're just going to use it more. If anything, they'll use it to tell new recruits, oh, this is why this person needs it. But the other ones, they know, we just doing this because we're the one. Yeah, fuck that motherfucker, But anyway, so more, I say, confirmation of what I've been seeing, and I think that means it is coming down. I hate when they just cut the grass. It is coming down from their masters because I always forget about China, communist China. We always think about the WD. But I just saw, these videos where real videos where they keep talking about how, they're trying to get China, the W. They don't want the that power, not their whole country. Klaus Schwab, George, they're gonna give it to China to do all the handle all the manufacturing and da 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 da. Either way, they all just want to bring down the U.S. And so, remember, I keep telling you, it's just everybody's acting up now, acting out. They just mad, you know. Oh yeah, they're mad. Thumbs up, like because I guess they try to say it's a white thing, not a military thing. But so like, only time I do that, even as a regular person, if you telling me official directions, you could just literally, you know, hey, we're done washing. Yeah, like the car wash. We're done washing your car. All right, cool, nigga. So to them, they try to make that mock that. It don't bother me. I'm like, that's why I keep doing it. And then you could tell, I definitely could tell a gang stalker because they do it at times when it's not called for. They're just trying to be funny. Maybe that's why they cut the grass, because they knew it would spur up them little bugs. But
Elon wants
anyway,
to save the day once again, right? Maybe move some of the manufacturing back here, Mexico. Obviously, we know he opened the gigafactory in Mexico.
yeah, see, that's what I hadn't got to that part. I'm gonna show you the part where I'm really talking about now. That's what I'm saying. They got to move everything back. Oh yeah, here's another video right quick before I show it.
The woke left isn't ready for what this Chinese.
Now he's another one. I can't remember, but I guess he's like the other one. He's not a gunsmith or whatever, but same thing. You know that they all look alike with the beard, so they could look like maybe conservative, so they could look official, but they're all really just like the rest of them want to be YouTube stars. He probably got hundreds of thousands. So I stopped watching him, but they just put that. That's another thing. They just put his video in my recommendations about 40 minutes ago, an hour or something. Because like in 2019, 20, they were all. That's what I'm saying. People like this, they were all living off of because the election, and we got to get Trump back in, and yada yada yada, and the Democrats, and over all these years, that's what I'm talking about. People like him, they don't want it to end, I guess.
American had to say about Trump.
Why Chinese Americans support Trump? All right. So the reason is the Democrat administration, Biden administration, lead.
Now this video, I think, is a real video, and that guy really is a Chinese legal immigrant, new American citizen.
This country towards socialism and eventually towards communist dictatorship.
Come on, man.
We came from China. People here don't understand what is the communist is. We know communist is. What communist is. That's why we support Trump.
Come on, man.
You have to live in China. I guess.
I did. I grew up in China. I grew up in China.
Come on, man.
A lot of people might say that Trump is anti-immigrant or,
Trump is not anti-immigrant. It's just against illegal immigrants.
Come on, man. Come on. Make sure you leave a like.
See, because he spent too much time with the editing and being a YouTube. That's fine, I guess, but like now it's like just show the thing and talk. He spends more time editing. You see the other guys, that young guy Trace Taylor, he don't edit, he just talks. And he gives his opinion, and the other guys, they just give their opinion. That's a good clip. And you cut it up with the dumb stuff, But because he even, everybody knew the whole time what they were when they Democrats were lying. Oh, they're racist. They're against immigration. No, we're not against immigration. It's just you got to do it the right one. Just like I said Saturday. Remember, I was walking around when that guy followed me in the bathroom, that illegal Migo with his son. I guess it's supposed to look like just a good happy day, Saturday, out father and son and mother and just shopping, you know, just I was supposed to, I was supposed to see him in a little tyke come in as we all been there, we all been a little kid, we all, all that, and this and that. It's like, nah, bro, it don't matter. And then, they keep trying to change it. Like, they're trying to infiltrate now, have people come. Usually somebody black. Yeah, they haven't even contributed. And what they're trying to do is get the segue into, and then they're talking about nowadays, they even pay taxes on their own. They're paying taxes. Like, no, we don't care if you're paying tax. We don't care if you're doctors. You do it the right way. You don't sneak in. I don't care if you're contributing. No, we don't need you. So that way you just cut all that dumb shit. They're good people. They're working and contribute. It don't matter. Because they're like, they're getting all the bit free stuff, and they haven't contributed. No. Don't matter if they contributed. Just like, these might be illegal Migos, cut the grass, you working, and everybody know whoever thought about doing lawn care, they pay money. I know I thought about it years ago, like 2003. They paid, even for back then, they paid good money. But that's why they hired illegal Migos, because they got to pay us and this was '03, they would have to pay us like 16, 17, it's Alabama son. But, they try to raise the standard for Americans. No, you got experience, this and that, you got to have this and that, be a horticulture or some type of shit, But it don't matter. And then remember they said that who's gonna do it? We don't. Somebody will do it. Raise, But back to this video.
He's author of the upcoming book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Gordon Chang back with us. And Gordon, you've got a warning about...
China's lashing out on everybody. It is like I said, that remember I've been saying that, like Saturday they just went crazy all over. So it's like the orders are coming down, to act, just act out. They won't. Oh, y'all not gonna vote. Y'all not gonna let us. And like I said, it's like it's like a powerful kid. You're not gonna let us take your stuff.
This is well about these devices and how Israel was able to infiltrate the supply chain to get back at Hezbollah, but you think China could do the same thing to anybody, to America?
Yeah, it would be a lot easier for China. Remember, Israel had to infiltrate the supply chain. China doesn't have to do that because it is the beginning of the supply chain. They manufacture all of this stuff. So if we're talking about pagers, walkie-talkies, but remember also...
Remember all that, like we, back then, all that cheap China crap. And so
home solar system.
Anybody, same person's first thought, again, all the Democrats owned by China, even LeBron James, Le Beijing, and what's the white one, John Cena. Remember he just made a movie, right, with that Aquafina chick. Is she a comedian, supposed to be Chinese American? I forgot the name of it, but I didn't even watch it because of them two.
Which means your toaster, you can do all of these devices can be laced with explosives. And so therefore, everything that we buy from China can be a weapon against the United States.
And one thing we were talking about during the commercial break is the fact that America buys drones from China. DJI? DJI. And this is a drone maker, a Chinese owned. Yes. And we're using these drones in the military? Are you serious?
And the Secret Service and the FBI. These drones, DJI has 70% of the global drone market. And, if you buy a DJI drone, the default position and setting on these things is the stuff goes to the cloud, which means it goes to China, which means every time you put one of these things up, China is looking at your backyard or whatever. So really what we've got is complete infiltration of the U.S. We talked last week about the ZPMC drone cranes. It's the same thing.
The
Everything that you buy from China can have a cellular modem on it, and these devices can communicate back to China, which means that China can speed up or stop your pacemaker. It can close your front door. It can actually drive your car off the cliff.
Well, can it drive your car into a lake? I mean, look, a new warning about Chinese electric vehicles. A new report from a British think tank says they could be weaponized by Beijing. Exactly what you're saying. The China Strategic Risks Institute says the UK's domestic car industry makes up 2.5% of the country's GDP, and China's EV market share jumped from just 2% in 2019 to 33.4% in the first half of 2023. With London's refusal to levy tariffs on Chinese EVs, the institute says it could open the door to a potential backdoor for China into the European market. Mark.
That's not good.
No, that's not good.
We need Elon Musk to save the day once again, right? Maybe move some of the manufacturing back here, Mexico. Obviously, we know he opened the Gigafactory in Mexico. But Gordon, I want to ask you about Taiwan, because just a few days ago, we sent a jet over the Taiwan Strait. And the Navy's response, the Navy said we encountered foreign military forces. Apparently, China sent several jets to follow our jet. What do you make of that? Is that an escalation in what's going on in Taiwan?
Well, China says that the Taiwan Strait is sovereign Chinese water, where everybody else in the world says that it is international water. And this issue is not just the Taiwan Strait, but it's also the nearby South China Sea, where China says it's blue national soil. I mean, this is just ludicrous, but this is the idea that China owns the global commons. And it's going to be Taiwan, it's going to be the Philippines, Japan, there's also air incursions there. This is just throughout the region. China is lashing out at everybody, Mark, and that's a really bad sign.
And they want to overtake the United States as the number one economy and global power. I mean, FBI Director Christopher Wray says the U.S. has now disrupted a second Chinese hacking group, taking thousands of compromised devices out of its grasp. This is Flax Typhoon. It was being run by a Chinese tech company, which was...
Ray is supposed to be in prison. They ain't even working with. So basically, they're throwing us. It's like basically that's like, you know, that corridor they talk about in Texas. What's that highway? Where they, you know, this is back in the day before the human trafficking so much. You know, like 20 years ago, the drug corridor. Yeah, and you see some small town cop or whatever. It's not. Now 95 is up and down. Whatever it is, I-20. Yeah, you got one bust, $10 million, and look at all the drugs that we're taking off the streets. And everybody's like, yeah, that one tractor trailer you stopped, and $10 million, that's the cost of doing business, while they just, about 20, 30 more just in that hour just drove by full of drugs. Yeah, so a billion, or whatever, 100 million worth of cocaine or whatever just went through. While y'all had that one truck and celebrating that you stopped, and he probably let you stop him or did something to make you stop him. So decoy. All of a sudden now Christopher Wray is, that's what I'm talking about. These, we just confiscated it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's the cost of doing business. We don't need that shit. 1 minute Christopher Wray is the villain, against Trump. The next minute, he's a trusted source. Everybody else disband the FBI.
Has now disrupted a second Chinese hacking group, taking thousands of compromised devices out of its grasp. This is Flax Typhoon. It was being run by a Chinese tech company which was set to collect intelligence for the Chinese government. The group thought to have compromised more than 250,000 devices across the world. Wray said that Flax Typhoon was targeting infrastructure, corporations,
in the movies, them cop shows, TV shows, you gotta throw me something, man, so I look like I'm doing something, The guy, the big time drug dealer in town, that's working with the cops. He ain't just he paid them off too, but the cop like, you gotta do more than that to keep me off you. So he got throwing people. He gotta so he can stay up. So the Chinese Christopher Wray said Ching Chong Ping, you got to go, let me get something, man. I can't keep this up. They own me already, man. Shit.
Stations, even schools and government agencies, Gordon. This is exactly what you're discussing here.
Yeah, Flex Typhoon took over devices. I mean, and they can take over almost any device. So really what we're talking about is China's basically having millions of planted bombs across the United States. It's that serious. The Israelis showed that you can do it. The Chinese now must be thinking, how do we take advantage of this with regard to the U.S. and other countries?
Yeah. Do you think people understand this real quick before we jump? I don't think people...
It could be another Pearl Harbor, but not just military. It could be everybody, all of us.
fully understand it yet. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to process.
When stuff starts happening in schools.
You don't have time to process. The election is only 42 days away.
Too, by the way, is that the thing that's going to ring off the alarm bells finally?
Schools.
The schools, yeah, that stuff's in schools too. Great.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere in the United States.
Gordon, thank you. We've said many times, China is inside.
And like I said, I'm sure, like I'm not even gonna waste my time, not even, for a video subject of telling my people about this. Cause whatever it is, they must feel safe. They're gonna be like, so either, it's worse than I thought. They're prepared to go, to die for this, for whoever these people are that's, didn't brainwash them. So I don't know what to, I just know if I, especially, but the guys my age, I know, again, they, like what? So what? That shit ain't gonna happen. They probably don't even know about the Israeli attack from last week anyway, or the week before last. And the government shut down and verdict. What's that supposed to mean? Well, that might be a good thing. I say might because it's almost like I said, all of it is like, is almost like just like Puffy, the Puffy thing. They're throwing there, and they guess maybe they want us to go to sleep. How like after Thanksgiving, they want us to feel so victorious. But Puffy nobody fell for, and that the Taylor Swift talking shit. It would be good if people, but I think people really are coming around because of the dumb shit she said. But and then I saw, the other one nobody really paid attention to. Lady Gaga dad did an interview, and he actually is, had good reasons for why he changed his mind. I mean, everybody has good reason, but he able to voice this. So, but obviously, he's kind of, most of us never seen him till I had never seen him until yesterday. I don't pay attention to, but he had good. But the bottom line, she's mad about it. She's mad, and he don't, like. But people, point out he's a businessman or something like, so he understand. And I guess she just got to get over it. But and so her dad is on. I think he went on Fox as usual. Probably I think either on Fox Business, probably Fox Business, and he's up there laying out why Kamala's a total joke, a failure, and it's not just So I guess maybe he was her business manager. He was a business guy, and he don't and then it's like the Tim Walz family came out, even if some of them are just the cousins, still they, when we was kids, your cousin might be a third, but when y'all kids, it's just like y'all brothers. But so they're all against Tampon Tim. But what is it? What did they say? Take it with a grain of salt. And the government, shut down like they said. So that mean that they didn't go with the SAVE Act. So they letting illegal. So what is this? I don't get it. I mean, I don't.
In Congress, Congress has worked out a deal that avoids a government shutdown at the end of this month while still kicking that can down to a road to December.
Our Washington correspondent Trevor Shirley is in D.C. with more.
And Congress will likely be having this debate again just before lawmakers leave for the Christmas holiday later this year. On Sunday, congressional leaders announced a deal to fund the government for another 3 months. This avoids a shutdown that was set to happen at the end of September. The agreement funds government at current levels and includes an extra $231 million to bolster the Secret Service. As part of the deal, House Speaker Mike Johnson abandoned a plan to mandate proof of citizenship in order to vote. Some conservative lawmakers said without that provision, they'd move to shut the government down and were encouraged to do so by former President Donald Trump. But lawmakers on both sides knew a government shutdown just before an election would be a huge political liability. It remains unclear, though, whether Congress will be able to work out a long-term spending.
It's like, so illegal alien. I don't whatever. And, you know, they talk about that girl from Georgia, but it sound like now people are like, well, maybe she was right about that guy. You know, they all, you know, Democrats probably love it, but ain't no probably in it. They do love it. You know, they they get their legal, well, they would try to. Yeah, I saw that too. They wanna. I didn't even click on it because is it a money thing? Because you remember Aunt Jemima family, they lost it. That mean they, you know, what everybody said. Y'all put a black family, and you took all their royalties away. But again, they was like, so what? They didn't care.
Why did no one tell drivers under 40 about this new rule? What people don't realize is that if you drive less than 50 miles a day...
Back in 2020, we really made a lot of racial progress. You know, we got Aunt Jemima off of the syrup bottles. Uncle Ben's rice was changed to Ben's Original. The Dixie Chicks just became...
You know, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. They think that's a win with Aunt Jemima and Uncle... Yeah, I think Uncle Ben, too, you know, was that a real person like Aunt Jemima, you know... But everybody was like, nobody asked y'all to do that. Nobody said that. Nobody said, I never saw that all my whole life about Uncle Ben. I don't even have jokes about Uncle Ben. You know, maybe the older kids, you know, to an old man, hey, Uncle Ben. But that was it. Just because he was an old black dude. But barely, there was nobody. Uncle Ben was racist. You know, if your mama cooked, you know, if you come from a family like mine, there was no Uncle Ben's because it's processed rice, right? You know, they just got a bag of rice and cook their own, you know, they cook real rice. And I know now that, no, that's still just as bad. You know, you got to have organic and blah, blah, blah. But also back then, matter of fact, I remember all that shit from the different type of smaller stores somewhere on Queens Boulevard or wherever it was. Yeah, the health food rice. So either way, they wouldn't eat no Uncle Ben's and it had nothing to do with boycotting because it was a black dude. It didn't matter. It could have been anybody on the box. But it was a box of rice, you know, whatever, or in that packet or whatever. But no, either way, nobody asked for it. Or Aunt Jemima, you know, who gets offended? They tried that. One of them tried it. Oh, you know how them white men fantasize. I said, stop. Y'all, none of y'all said that before. You just repeating something, not even that you heard. But I, you know, whatever. Yeah, one of them did. Yeah. Oh, you know, the white man fantasizing about a maid and his sex life and, you know, fantasize. Like, Aunt Jemima. That's what. I went to school with white boys. None of us was talking about Aunt Jemima. You know, the white. Maybe I guess they had secret meetings. I don't know, but
Back in 2020, we really made a lot of racial progress. You know, we got Aunt Jemima off of the syrup bottles. Uncle Ben's rice was changed to Ben's original. The Dixie Chicks just became the Chicks so that they wouldn't remind everyone of the Confederacy and slavery and the Civil War. White people everywhere read White Fragility and learned to hate themselves. I mean, I am almost brought to tears reminding myself of all of this because it is just so powerful.
Well, this utterly sucks.
And yet, probably the most impactful and important change that was made in 2020 was the Washington Redskins finally getting rid of their terrible, racist, triggering name and logo and becoming the Commanders. Phew. But guys, actually, we are not in the clear because people now want to bring back the Redskins, and you'll never guess who it is. Or actually, you guys are smart, so you might already know. Before we dive into this story, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the comment section channel if you have not already.
Wait, are the Braves still the Braves then? Why they ain't mess with the Atlanta Braves? But
Of course, hit that notification bell so that you never miss one of our uploads. All right, so the Washington Redskins were and still are an NFL team, and they were named the Redskins back in 1933 when they were a Boston team, and they were named this because they had a famous Native American coach and 4 Native American players. And this famous and beloved coach was named Lone Star Dietz, who is proudly Sioux Indian. The team was named after him, and it stuck for years, even as the team left Boston and moved to Washington State years later. And then when the famous and now very problematic and disturbing and triggering logo was made in 1971, then Coach George Allen worked with a group of Native Americans on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation to make sure that the logo was respectful and that they liked it, and everything was fine for literally years. Until the 2010s, and that is when controversy absolutely erupted. It's racist, it's problematic, we have to get rid of this. You are offending Native Americans everywhere. But to their sort of credit, the Redskins stood strong and they did not change their name. That is, until 2020. Because in 2020, as we all know, the pressure became too intense and the team decided to bend the knee, like many of the NFL players did that year as well. And so in late July of that year, they scrapped the name and they just temporarily became the Washington Football Team. How wonderful, how clever.
Boring.
But immediately, people could breathe easier, knowing that that awful racism was eradicated in their community. And these activists and the bored white liberal women then turned their attention elsewhere. One NPR article said, still, she, this is an activist, knows that the movement isn't over, given that hundreds of teams across high school, college, and professional sports continue to make use of disparaging names, mascots, and logos referencing Native Americans. But Rhuttrho thinks it's only a matter of time before more professional sports teams follow suit, namely the Atlanta Braves, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chicago Blackhawks. Wow, so powerful. Side note, no one else changed their name, and they certainly were not pressured in the same way that the Washington Redskins were. One might say, that this was all performative? No, I wouldn't dare. Couldn't be. Now, 2 years after they temporarily became the Washington Football Team, after an extensive rebrand and significant pressure from their investors like FedEx, who made a big snafu about how racist and terrible the whole team.
they couldn't afford. That's how it just hit me. They couldn't afford to buy enough people on the Braves, ownership, and the Blackhawks and the Chiefs. It was supposed to, that's what I'm saying. My theory, it was, seed money. It was supposed to catch on by itself, and we the people were supposed to demand the rest. I bet that's what this idiots thought. That it was going to catch on, that we were going to get mad and ban the rest, because really, Chris Rock said that shit years ago. I think in the 2000s on one of his stand-ups. That's like having a team named the New York Niggas. It was funny, but Chris Rock was always one of them, back to Africa kind of, pro-black comedians and shit. And really, it ain't that many. Well, the ones I don't like, what's Paul Mooney, supposed to be a legend to some people, but he's another one they try to force, and I never liked him since I was a kid. He just never, anything he was on or repeats, or I just didn't like him too much. But, and then I find out he's half white, and just like I always would joke about, it's always the half white or light skinned that just so much hate white people. Oh, white, just pro-black. Obviously Chris Rock ain't, but still, you thought it was just a joke. It was funny. Then you see, they start really talking this shit, about these teams that is, how racist it is and da da da. But we didn't know they was good, but so they didn't have enough or didn't want to spend the money to do it again. Probably that's why they stopped at the Washington Redskins, because they're like, yeah, this shit ain't catching on, and we just be throwing money down the drain.
Like FedEx, who made a big snafu about how racist and terrible the whole team was, they permanently changed their name to the Washington Commanders, and they changed their logo to a big W. And I'm sure that the team was relieved. They moved on, nobody could be angry at them anymore, they had cleaned the slate, they were starting over, or so they thought. Because now, it's 2024, and people are realizing that 2020 was a fever dream of chaos and manufactured outrage and victimhood, and they're realizing that, wow, Aunt Jemima on my bottle of terribly ultra-processed syrup actually wasn't hurting anyone. Maybe it was actually...
This is like I said, we never had Uncle Ben's, Aunt Jemima, but not because of the logos. They didn't eat that. If they gonna eat, it's gonna be, they bought maple syrup. Or, we might have known somebody who could make it if I could remember. Even in New York, because Queens, they buy the honey, natural honey, they come in them little jars, even though it's from a store. But anyway, just changing the name, who cares? Everybody, but a lot of people, black people, said it then. They was like, why are y'all doing that? You only gonna hurt the family. They get the royalties.
Actually kind of a wholesome, nostalgic, and nice piece of representation. I mean, companies are slashing their DEI initiatives and departments right and left. Shout out to Robbie Starbuck for making that happen. I mean, companies in general are becoming bolder about pushing back against all of this.
Yeah, that DEI shit, all the employees, they were paying people for nothing. That had to be a gravy ass job. I mean, if I could have got one, I would have took it. I don't know. The thing about it, shit, you ain't doing nothing. You got time really to invest. You should have been investing all. You should have known that shit wasn't gonna last. But I bet they's paying like 100-some thousand. You should have invested that shit. Yeah, we gonna cut our department. Oh, I figured that. I'm all right. Okay then. Yeah, I just give him a handshake because I didn't, whatever. I didn't flip that money somehow.
And sticker mule certainly is, because in a world where woke corporations bend the knee to basically every leftist demand, it is just so refreshing to find a company that is not only providing great products but also takes a stand against the insanity of the left. And that's why I love being a partner with Sticker Mule. Sticker Mule is the go-to.
Wrong button.
I used to pay $1,000.
Insurance companies.
And these damn
like
ads.
FedEx, who made a big snafu about how racist and terrible the whole team was, they permanently changed their name to the Washington Commanders, and they changed their logo, Aunt Jemima, on my disappointment that the family wasn't consulted when the logo was removed, and noted the pride associated with their ancestors' legacy. Want the Redskins and want the logo back. Specifically, Daily Wire. Now, on top of all of that...
Now, like I said, that's just like with Aunt Jemima. They should go back and get their shit back. Because actually people knew about that. People were saying that. I said it, but it wasn't too much we could do. I had just moved here, right? Yeah. But I'm like, and I would say that, like, y'all don't, okay, but they said, man, this shit racist. I'm like, but the money goes to a black family. They get a lot of money. I mean, obviously not all, I'm just saying they get a check for nothing, because of their grandma or whoever, great. And they, I thought y'all like generational wealth. But, no, like, stupid ass niggas,
Genuine progress. Well, some people want the Redskins back. And no, you conniving, salivating, race-baiting journalists, it is not the straight white men.
Hey, then you know what? Another thing, I know I keep, but you can get the, you know what? That dude, that Braylon dude, that's another reason I stopped watching him. He I did watch him about a week ago. And I knew he was mocking me because he mocked. It's just the way he did it. He did, how I just stopped and I'm like, I know I keep stopping. He did that. The dude with the mass shootings, the ghost mass shootings, that's why I said he's a traitor too. Not just to me. I'm telling you, I don't know why I'm so important to them, but they just hate. I guess because I'm the only one who speak up against them directly to the master's face. That's what it was. Now I remember what it was. And they did one of his specialties in Birmingham. Exactly. They did what he's part of it. I don't care what you say. You know, that whatever, I don't know what video it was, about a week and a half ago, and now whatever it was, something, yeah, so that means that video, whatever that video was, that I was crunk about it. And I couldn't, I was like, I can't wait. I came out here, set my little chair up, and then I kept talking like, wait, I want to let it play, but I got, I kept hearing shit. And so whatever it was, it must have embarrassed the fuck out. Not just because I said it, immediately. I must have saw it immediately too, and I got it out before it wasn't that they could do about it. I forgot what it is, and I ain't even finna go through that shit and go find it. I might. I don't know.
And who can't handle change and want their problematic logo back. It is the Native Americans. The Native Americans want the Redskins and want the logo back. Specifically, the family and the tribe of the man in the famous Redskins logo who saw it as an honor and a form of representation. Imagine that. Now, Puberty posted about this yesterday, writing, the family of Blackfeet Nation chief John Two Guns Whitecalf, whose likeness was used in the former Washington Redskins logo, is urging the team to reconsider their rebranding. Thomas Whitecalf expressed disappointment that the family wasn't consulted when the logo was removed and noted the pride associated with their ancestors' legacy. And guys, this is just too good. They bent over backwards to appease the mob, to appease their...
It didn't even talk to the family. I know I keep cutting it off. I guess that dude go to make another video. But that's what we were saying the whole time. We did with the Aunt Jemima. Was like, they didn't even talk about because the family the ones who alerted us that they just taking the money. Now that's gonna be their checks. And it's not they living off of it. No, even if they was, it's theirs. Generational wealth, right? That's what all these stupid ass niggas was talking about. This generation
back. It is the Native Americans. The Native Americans want the Redskins and want race-baiting journalists. It is not the straight white men who can't handle change and want their problematic logo back. It is the Native Americans. The Native Americans want the Redskins and want the logo back. Specifically, the family and the tribe of the man in the famous Redskins logo who saw it as an honor and a form of representation. Imagine that. Now, Puberty posted about this yesterday, writing, the family of Blackfeet Nation chief John Two Guns Whitecalf, whose likeness was used in the former Washington Redskins logo, is urging the team to reconsider their rebranding. Thomas Whitecalf expressed disappointment that the family wasn't consulted when the logo was removed and noted the pride associated with their ancestors' legacy. And guys, this is just too good. They bent over backwards to appease the mob, to appease their investors. And the only people that they did not speak to about this decision are the family members of this now famous Native American chief. And the comments were just pure gold. Somebody said, this is exactly why woke culture needs to be shut down, acting offended on behalf of other people without even considering what they think or feel about the matter. I mean, that is so racist in and of itself, which we have been saying for years at this point. Acting...
Like I keep saying, just like I said, that one job that was pretty decent, even though it was pretty strenuous. My injuries, my shoulder surgery, I had that. But it was still, money-wise, and it was only around the corner. It's still there. But they totally took me off, and they took it from showing up on that little job app, one of them. And they got mad because this one's how I kept telling them we don't. No, one guy, he comes up next to me, whispers here. I know I won't rest until I see a black woman in the White House. I'm like, just any black woman. And Kamala was already there because this was only I made videos there. What was that, last year? A year and a half ago? It was a 2023, wasn't it? I think it was. I made it in, I was in the parking lot, and then next day, they just took me off and did, just ghosted. I called I called the app or texted. They don't have, a phone number no more. They they had whatever. And so they can't, no reason. I'm like, first of all, everybody, like the way I work. They was, that, but that's what they were mad. They had the little. Then they had a guy come in and curse the lady. I mean, really, really cuss out. If she don't send them home, I'm like, okay, so you're a black woman. You're just gonna sit here and this dude is a temp, and you're gonna sit here and go back and forth and just so it's a show. I don't know why they did that, because I guess I was to them working too hard and making them look bad. They've been there all them decades. Because one dude, he was my age, and he been there since like 1992 or something. And I'm like, how many years? He's like, I'm like, he's like 20. No, that's like 30 years. Yeah, he's like 30 years. I'm like, damn, nigga, you been here since we was 18, or something like that. I just couldn't, But I'm like, he's like, somebody else said, no, he putting you down. I just can't imagine staying at any place. I don't care what kind of job you have. A lawyer, I mean, maybe a lawyer, but, what they done to me, I'm so used to moving around. I just can't imagine being, I'm like, you should have paid off a house by now, whatever. But he was only, but anyway, so they just, but see, it's the woke folks, the niggas, they're not really woke. They're house niggas. They're slaves. They're the slaves, and the white woke folks are their masters. And they just was mad, and this. They did a lot. Like, I think they did bring up, the other stuff. The answer, just all of it. They just. No, not the answer. What they said, they was trying to tell me that there is racism. The women, like we're not scared of white boys. Maybe y'all, but I'm not. And I'm getting tired of them telling you. And you women, that's something like y'all. That's what they got mad about. Yeah, I guess I didn't fit. No matter how good I work, it don't. They didn't like. I didn't bow down and agree that it was racism because one of them tried to outsmart me. Well, it's not. It's necessarily afraid. It's just that they do have systemic and power. That means you're afraid. I don't care what you say. How you try to label it, that means afraid. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I switched. I will go back to this, but another example of stupid Democrats in trying to be slick.
Joining us now is Gatestone Institute Senior.
This China thing. All right, so obviously, my first thought with this one, it all ties in, is the Democrats are doing all this selling out to China, just like I said. All right, so I got to find the right one. Yeah, okay, this one. He's mad. Okay. You see the comment, even the Teamsters are finally realizing after decades that the Democrat Party hates America's working class. And not sure what any of that has to do with Democrats at all, but okay, pal. What do you mean? Because they're running, and if anything, he could say, well, in the 90s or the 2000s, Bush and them, whoever helped sell out. Now, you could have said that, but the majority of the sellout China owning shit is Democrats. That's what I'm talking about. They always just try to sound smart with that dumb shit. Stick to the subject. They try to get you in that, where they can't understand an analogy, or not just that's not an analogy, but something that everybody knows. And it's like, because we all done our research, so we know exactly what that. But he's, so basically you're trying to con us. That's like trying to, stick, and I'm talking about somehow like a big con, like get us to sign something. So don't ask questions and just sign this paper. Stick to, what does that have to do with this? Everything. You don't want us to ask, that, or say anything. That's why I went back to that right quick.
Did you know that in Texas, rifles can be carried in public without a license? Whereas in Florida, no open carrying is allowed.
Racist in and of itself, which we have been saying for years at this point, acting offended on.
And I've been saying as black, but more black people are waking up, like, no, we don't need white liberals to protect us. Especially not some insane old white lady like Joy Behar or whatever. Yeah, exactly. We don't need none of that shit.
Behalf of people of color is not progress. That is not empowerment. That is speaking over them and for them, because you think that they're victims and they're not able to express what they actually think. That's offensive. That literally is racism. Somebody else commented and said, "No, trust us, you're offended." That's activists. Another person said, "It was always white people that wanted it gone, not the actual natives." Exactly. And this is all made even worse because not only did they not consult the family of this chief, they also didn't consult the majority of Native Americans, considering that poll after poll after poll showed that Native Americans did not care about the logo. I mean, specifically 90% of Native Americans in this country were not bothered by the team name or of the logo. Washington Post. New poll finds that 9 out of 10 Native Americans aren't offended by the Redskins name. Poll finds 90% of Native Americans are okay with the Washington Redskins name. I mean, you just cannot make this stuff up.
They probably never even thought about it.
Outrage.
Come on, Jess, you're angry. Good.
Get angry. And if you don't believe the statistics or the polls, let's just throw back 5 years to when Will Witt did one of his most iconic PragerU videos, and he actually went to a Native American reservation to ask them about this thing.
What's up, guys? This is Will Witt with PragerU. Today we're at the Navajo Nation, and we're talking to people today about political correctness, issues facing their community and their culture. Do you find the name Washington Redskins, is that offensive to you?
I don't think so. In my personal opinion, no. I am a Washington Redskins fan.
I don't think it's terrible,
I don't find it offensive. Someone came to me and called me a Redskin to my face. Hey, it's my fault for letting that hurt me.
This was just like such an iconic moment of conservatism. Will Witt doing these videos was just fabulous. This was such like a red pill for me in college. I mean, wild, guys. This entire video is wild. We're gonna go back to it and watch it a little bit later. But I mean, you're hearing it from them. I mean, this video is almost as good as when Will Witt dressed up in a sombrero and went to UCLA and all of the white UCLA students got so offended and the Mexicans loved it. It's just iconic. Now, moving on from that, another important point, we're getting back to the story, is that if John Two Guns White Calf looks familiar, other than just being on the Redskins logo, it's because he is probably the most famous and recognized Native American chief in history. Like maybe you've seen him before on the Buffalo Nickel. And because he is so well known, even in the Native American community, his family believes that he would have wanted his portrait to remain on the logo, and that he wouldn't have found it offensive, but that it would have been an honor, much like he thought it was such a high honor to be on the Buffalo Nickel. Now, the family recently spoke to Fox about all of this, who wrote that the descendants of John Two Guns White Calf also want his incredible life story retold too, to a new generation of Americans who seek unity and value multiculturalism. Imagine that. It can be celebratory, not offensive or some arm of cultural appropriation. Like, okay, that in and of itself genuinely makes no sense to me, because we are all supposed to want representation. We are supposed to be fighting for representation and diversity, like genuine, long-standing representation. Well, then that is racist. Then that is cultural appropriation. I mean, it's basically the Moana problem from Matt's new movie. I mean, you literally can't win at all.
My 3-year-old daughter is her favorite princess is Moana.
Love it.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
But then I also thought, there's a little bit of cultural appropriation here. She wants to be Moana for Halloween. So how do we navigate that?
Anyway, they went on and said, quote, "The fans want him back and we want him back," said Thomas Whitecalf, a great nephew of the celebrated early 20th century native. "Our ancestor was the most famous and most photographed native in history. Two Guns was also the face of the Indian head nickel. I am proud of him. The Blackfeet are proud of him. It's a point of pride, and it represents the rich Native American history that helps make our nation great. And it should be enthusiastically celebrated across our culture." And guys, it's not just his family. It seems like that is what most Native Americans wanted. I mean, they felt so seriously about this that they literally sued the NFL team last year. Native American group sues the Washington Commanders over erasure of Redskins' identity. You literally can't win. And the thing is, you shouldn't even try to win or appease these people, because the majority of this racial outrage is manufactured, and it is kept alive by board.
That's why I keep telling everybody, like, stop trying. You can't win because it's phony, and they know it. And not only that, they're not going to back down because they're nerds. They're lame and jealous, and they're not going to, you can't, and I don't, like I said, more insane asylums until they learn. That's the only thing. You can't, don't try to appease them. Don't try to argue, reason. Unless, like I said, you're doing like I am and you just want to catch them in lies and shit like that and expose them. But other than that, you're wasting your time,
White liberal activists who are desperate to make themselves feel self-important after being told that they are inherently problematic and evil. That is literally why all of this is happening. And this man from Will Witt's video summed all of this up perfectly.
I think it has become very unfortunate that we live in a culture and a society where outrage has become a recreational pastime, where people nit and pick until they find something wrong, and then they become outraged by it.
I mean, I could not have said it better myself. The world...
And, like I said, with most of these black folks, they were never outraged. I don't know who's paying them. I mean, well, we know who, how, or and they still, unless they made them promise to not spend the money, or maybe it's already they can't touch it, and they just see it, and they're like, "Nah, this is how much you got, man. Just hold on." 2025. That's the only thing I just thought of that. They got accounts for them. That's the only thing I could think of. Because all of them are still just bummy and getting dropped off. They try to clean up some of the dudes. They gave the little other dude and the dude that stay right there. They gave him a haircut. That's the only thing I could think of is that they holding their money for him, air quotes. But cause they sure sticking to this shit.
In just a few clicks, you can become your own bank. Yes, you heard that right. Imagine that.
Retired four-star General Jack Keane joins me now here in New York City. General, Israel's objective is to restore its border with Lebanon and security at that border. Have I got that right?
You got it absolutely right. Otherwise, Hezbollah is redefining the Israeli border, and there's 70,000 people who have been displaced on the Israeli side of the border as a result of it. What they want, two things from Hezbollah. One, stop firing across the border, and number two, pull all of your troops, your artillery, your mortars across the Litani River out of range so that
the reason I click on that, because like everybody say, that's another reason. They say that there was, they say that, there's connections. I mean, supposedly small with the last guy, the younger one, assassin, would-be assassin, and Zelensky, and it's all the money laundering. All the billions and aid they keep sending, they know that shit gonna get cut off soon as Trump get in.
People there are no longer threatened. Those are the two things that they're seeking.
Can it do that without a ground invasion?
Yeah, I think what's happening here, the context is the Israelis are trying to demonstrate to Nasrallah, who's the head of Hezbollah, that this is not 2006, when the Israelis invaded on the ground and in the air. 37 days later, they did not accomplish their objectives, and they withdrew, and all the service chiefs were fired as a result of it. 18 years later, they're showing Nasrallah and Hezbollah how exquisite their intelligence is, that they're killing their top leaders. And they just blew up the Ramadan organization in Beirut. It's their special ops most elite unit. They killed.
That sound familiar? I didn't say I was going to put but I'm telling you, I said you're general. I know I wasn't calling you a Hezbollah, but I'm just saying at this point, Hezbollah and Hamas and all that, they're part of the globalists. Maybe they promised them they're going to leave them alone, like Iran and, North Korea, if they help spread chaos. But your leaders are nerds, and they're getting taken out.
All of their tactical leaders. We all just witnessed last week the pagers and the walkie-talkie attacks, exquisite intelligence and execution. They are telling Nasrallah, this is going to only be worse for you if you don't stop what you're doing. And then the signal that the war has really begun would be the ground invasion.
Okay. I'll change gears for a second. In Ukraine, the Russian military, in one day, we hear, lost 22 tanks, 52 armored vehicles, and 1,500 troops. That comes as Zelensky, Ukraine's president. He's going to the White House on Thursday. He wants America to loosen restrictions on long-range weapons, which had hit inside Russia. You had a conversation with Zelensky. What can you tell me about it?
Yeah, well, first of all, I did have a conversation last night with his foreign minister and also with President Zelensky. And I focused on this issue. And I've just flat told them what I know. I said, the reasons the Biden administration are providing you for not giving you the authority to use their weapons, they're not reasons. They're excuses. And the excuses aren't even accurate. For example, they are telling Zelensky and his people that most of the Russian targets that we would use those weapons against have been removed from the area. False. We have a map at the Institute for the Study of War, and Zelensky and his people have it. It shows 245 targets, Russian concentrated troop targets, bases within range of the ATACMS missiles. 16 of them are air bases where they're rotating the Zu-34s to deliver the glide bombs that are being so devastating on the Ukrainians. That's the facts of the case. And my advice to the foreign minister and the President Zelensky was to be firm and tough on this issue. He has every right. And listen, they can still defeat these Russians. They can still drive much of them out of the territory. You just gave an example of how devastating the Russian losses were in a single day. They are not 10 foot tall at all. And the Russian and the Ukrainians have will, and they...
That's why I say, you know, that's what I'm saying, you know, whatever. But like I said, the whole thing will be over. Because I was wondering when I clicked on it, like, why is he talking to Gazillion? But he's on here all the time, that Jack King dude, retired general. Yeah, he's another CNN guy, basically. Might as well be. Like I said, that this guy, what's his name? Whatever his name is, the host, usually he's pretty, not, like the rest of them on Fox,
The walkie-talkie attacks.
But anyway, here you go, another 356. It's 6 minutes ago. And, like I said, they, all of it really is almost like a World War III global climate, but really it's against, I still say, China and the WEF. And you don't have to be, have connections on the inside. They didn't spread enough information and leaked out that, that this is all part of the one world agenda, all of it. And Israel is on our side, not Biden and Harris or the Democrats, but Zelensky obviously is a puppet for the. I don't think Russia's like on our side, but it's just like, I guess he just don't want to get taken over by the the World Economic Foundation or whatever it is for him. The globalist clowns. But anyway, I'm out of here.